everything that you buy that you can touch with your hands is going to become more expensive because most of that is manufactured, at least in part,
somewhere
if not
else.
wholly, by China.
If it doesn't bring back jobs, either we all get terrible jobs and things get expensive, or we don't get those terrible jobs back
and things are still expensive.
Things are still expensive. So regardless, we lose. The American people lose regardless. We're telling China, you need to ask nicely and say please to talk to Mr. Great Trump, and we'll decide if you get to talk to him, but you need to ask please.
How petulant.
China will not back down. This is their opportunity to become number one.
Yeah.
Please believe that they're not backing down.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the United Front show. We are the show that's trying to get people elected that don't take corporate money at all. If I ran for office, I would try to run for office where I actually took no donations at all, not even from people. A $0, I'm telling you.
$0.
A $0 political campaign is the next thing that's coming. Mark my words. It is April 12th, 2025. Somebody is going to run a $0 political campaign because you can in this day and age. So we're here to talk about tariffs, the Trump tariffs.
More particularly the trade war with China.
Okay, we're here to talk this. Thank you. We're here to talk specifically about the trade war, which has now become a trade war with China because of the Trump
exclusively
rollback. So now we're at 10% tariffs across the board for every country. This is as of April 12th, which could change at any point.
The info is technically from yesterday, and that's archaic information.
At least it's the weekend.
With how it's been working,
it's
practically ancient news. So
this trade war, it has escalated into a trade war with China. And just to remind everybody that the reason that tariffs are important, the reason we should be paying attention is that tariffs are a tax, as has been stated so many times before. Everything that you buy that you can touch with your hands is going to become more expensive because most of that is manufactured, at least in part,
somewhere
if not
else.
Wholly, by China specifically, or at least
a lot of stuff comes from China. A lot of manufacture goes through China.
100%. So, but
including the plastic for my phone case, the whatever this is made out of.
Yeah, the raw materials.
We don't harvest rubber in the U.S.
I think that
comes from elsewhere.
I think it's the rare earth materials that are inside.
We also don't get that from the U.S.
Which we also
Nickel
don't get.
comes from South America. Lithium comes from China and Africa. So you think about these. It's
the chips. So
there's like 900 things being tariffed in this phone, not just the phone. It's everything the phone's also made out of.
All the bits and pieces that
every single little screw is a metal mined somewhere.
Right.
That will be tariffed.
Every part of the chip.
Yep.
The reason it's relevant, just to remind everybody again, is that these tariffs, these taxes are put in place to generate revenue for the federal government of the United States in order to continue to pay for the operation of the government of the United States. So tax cuts can be given to
one of the largest that's in the Senate floor at the moment. It's going to be given to
rich people. Now, there is some speculation that Trump is going to try to raise taxes on millionaires. We'll see how that plays out. There is some discussion about that, so we acknowledge it. But ultimately, the idea is that the tax cuts from Trump's original administration will be able to continue, and people
they extended them already.
And people like billionaires and 100 millionaires won't have to pay as much, which means that we will have to pay it when we buy our blender and our phone and our...
When you buy food from the grocery store.
Food from the grocery store. We're talking about basic, our clothing.
Yep.
So
a new charger for your phone because it broke is going to be 3 times as expensive.
So these tariffs, this trade war with China intended to pay for the government so the rich don't have to pay their fair share. Hence, we're now in a trade war with China, and China is strong on it. What's your take?
So I want to add a little to how it affects people. Let's kind of get that out of the way.
Got to talk about it.
Yale did a study. It's going to be nearly $5,000 more expensive per year for the average household.
$5,000 more expensive for the average U.S. household because of the tariffs, because they're going to be paying higher prices for the things that they're buying now, their food, their groceries, right? Their clothing, their necessities.
And without getting into the complications of it, probably the poorer you are, the more you will be paying. You'll probably exceed $5,000. Like if I can only afford shoes from Walmart and those famously fall apart in 3 months, I have to buy those 4 or 5 times a year versus if you're wealthy, I'll just buy one really nice shoe
that lasts
one time, that'll last years. That's a good example. It'll end up hurting poor people more than $5,000. It could be upwards of $7,000 if you're close to minimum wage or close to that kind of line.
Wow.
Which is around $400 to $700 a month to just add to everybody.
Who has $400 to $700 extra a month to pay for just the basic necessities of their life? Again, anything that you can hold and touch with your hands.
The electricity to run Publix will be expensive for them, so they're going to raise their prices.
The electricity becomes more expensive?
Yeah.
How does that become more expensive? Do we import that from China?
We import a lot of oil. We import the machinery used to run the power plant, right? Speaking of this, you go to the store, the grocery bags are imported. So those will be a little bit more expensive. Mm-hmm. All the cardboard boxes.
All your avocados from Mexico that are 10% higher, or 25% higher.
Yep, all the cardboard boxes will be more expensive.
Yep.
The tools to maintenance the building are all imported and will be more expensive.
Your bottled water is going to be more expensive because
the plastic bottle is not manufactured in the USA.
Even though the water might come from a spring in the United States.
Yeah, it might be of the Florida aquifer, but it's...
Businesses, these water corporations like Nestle, they extract the water out of the ground in the United States. This is crazy.
Yeah, this is wild.
They ship the water overseas. They bottle the water overseas and then ship the bottled water back into the United States. That's how expensive it is to make bottled water in the United States.
So a pallet of water is like, what, $5? I don't know, for some size. Easily could go up to $7.
Which translates to us because the prices go up.
So much more than just it's more expensive to import a food item. It's making the food item, packaging it, shipping it, and then all the maintenance, all the complications in between add to the price. I want to make sure we know that.
We do.
And so it's going to hurt more, particularly the less money you have.
Absolutely.
And $100 to a person who makes $1,000 a year means way more than $100 to somebody who makes $1 million a year.
Exactly.
If you make $1 million a year, I don't care about these tariffs, man. But if I'm barely making, I'm like paycheck to paycheck and I have no extra money, I can't afford. I can't afford $400 more. I don't have that.
Now, a billionaire who buys a yacht for $200 million will probably have to pay $240 million for their yacht instead of $200 million.
And if you're in the business of buying a $200 million yacht, guess what? Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Nope.
But if you're used to paying $200 for your bill and now you're paying $240 for your bill, that hurts. That makes a difference.
$400 to $100 of groceries.
That's your weekly grocery bill. Went from
less food in your pantry, less food in your fridge. You can't drive anywhere. Your gas is getting expensive. I want to be clear that it's only going to hurt. And I want to talk about the 2 benefits that the Trump administration has claimed, and you can't have both being true. So one claim is tariffs will bring back jobs.
All right, let's talk about how the intention of tariffs is to bring back manufacturing into the United States.
So, small note.
Rip it apart.
Nobody here wants to work in a fabric factory.
Well, that's the first thing.
In knitting socks.
Yeah, nobody actually wants to do the work.
You'll be being paid less than if you worked at like Starbucks. Unless you want to work in like a horrible factory conditions. That's what you want.
Right.
So, whatever.
Right.
So,
but the other thing.
It's supposed to bring back jobs.
Well, it's supposed to bring back manufacturing.
So if it brings back jobs, particularly manufacturing, but jobs largely, I'll say jobs, so I don't have to keep repeating it, right?
Yep.
Then that means we import less. And the second reason we have tariffs is tax revenue. So if you actually succeed in bringing back jobs, tax revenue goes down.
Yes.
But if the tariffs don't succeed, you've just made everything expensive for no reason. So either way, it doesn't help.
It's lose-lose.
It only hurts.
It can only hurt. If tariffs work, it hurts.
If it works, it hurts.
Because it brings back
bad jobs.
Manufacturing, but it's bad manufacturing jobs. And now that things are made in the United States, they're more expensive anyway.
Yeah, it's not the high-paying kind of manufacturing jobs you might see around the U.S.
Not like the 50s.
It's not the 50s anymore.
It's not the 1950s.
Right? It's not those jobs. And there's manufacturing jobs here, but those are usually a bit of more specialization, higher quality jobs.
Okay.
It's more you put this little thing and this thing on an assembly line for 10 hours and you're paid $10 an hour. Do you want to do that with your back hunched over all day? No.
It's hard work.
Or do you want to go work at Starbucks and make coffees a couple times for $16 an hour? Which one's easier? So if it brings back jobs, it brings back
the worst of the worst jobs.
Low-paying, poor jobs.
Yeah, the worst of the worst
jobs nobody wants.
Right.
Part of the reason they're gone.
That's if tariffs work.
That's if they work.
But what if tariffs don't work and we cannot build hundreds of factories in
3 months.
a month, two few months. So all of a sudden all this manufacturing's back. Let's say we can't build that infrastructure up, which by the way, we can't.
Yeah, it will take a decade to do that. So if it doesn't bring back jobs,
then everything is just
companies famously care about their profits. Shocking.
Really? In capitalism in America,
really
companies
weird.
care about their
Wasn't
profits?
it? So proof of this, if anyone doubts me for some reason, do you remember when inflation got high? What happened? Prices skyrocketed. Everyone was complaining. It's part of why Joe Biden and Kamala lost.
Yep.
Did the prices really come down all that much?
No.
Interesting.
No.
So
prices don't come back down.
So what happens when we start levying huge taxes on companies? Because the U.S. companies pay the tariff, not China. We pay the tax.
The companies pay the tax, then the companies charge the end user and consumer.
Is the company going to just like, oh, we'll just lose money? I've never known a company to do that.
Unlikely.
What are they going to do? We'll just charge you more.
Pass it along.
What are you going to do?
The costs will trickle down.
The costs will trickle down.
Trickle down economics, the cost will trickle down to you.
When it inevitably destroys the economy and prices have skyrocketed, inflation's up, so when it inevitably destroys everything, why would the business lower prices? What are you going to do? If every store in your town has made everything more expensive, why would they lower the prices?
Even if the tariffs go away?
Yeah. And then a Democrat comes in, tariffs are gone, everything's back to normal.
Yeah.
What reason do they have to lower prices back down again?
It's unlikely
They
to
don't
happen.
care.
It's unlikely to happen.
So either we all get terrible jobs and things get expensive, or we don't get those terrible jobs back.
And things are still expensive.
Things are still expensive. So regardless, we lose. The American people lose regardless. Regardless.
That's the key. That's the key point.
So I wanted to talk about what's really relevant and kind of how it hurts.
Okay.
Now I want to mention how Trump is getting dog walked by China at the moment.
By the way, let's drop in that clip real quick right now, right here at the bottom of the screen of Ronald Reagan talking about how free trade is the way to go. Ronald Reagan, of all people.
Do you want me to?
We'll drop the clip in.
Do you want me to drop the clip from the Chinese embassy in the U.S., the official Chinese embassy account on Twitter? tweeted a clip out of Reagan talking about tariffs. Is that the clip you're talking about?
Okay.
That the Chinese embassy's like, hey, idiots.
Even Reagan.
Ronald Reagan was even against it.
Drop it in. Let's
your
play
favorite Republican president.
Let's play it.
I'm dropping it in because it was posted by somebody else, but Chinese embassy in the USA reposted.
Nearly universal
there?
agreement among economists. But it has also proven itself in the real world where we have seen free trading nations prosper while protectionist countries fall behind. America's most recent experiment with protectionism was a disaster for the working men and women of this country. When Congress passed the Smoot-Hawley tariff in 1930, we were told that it would protect America from foreign competition and save jobs in this country. The same line we hear today. The actual result was the Great Depression, the worst economic catastrophe in our history. 1 out of 4 Americans were thrown out of work. Yet today, protectionism is being used by some American politicians as a cheap form of nationalism. We should beware of the demagogues who are ready to declare a trade war against our friends, weakening our economy, our national security, and the entire free world.
That's China. China tweeting that.
Yeah.
They're smoking us.
Often hate Reagan. Kind of just cooked Trump real bad with that one. The prophecy Reagan saw in that moment, he saw Orange Man bad in his head.
40 years
And he was
in
prophetic.
advance, 40 years earlier.
Yeah, and God came to him in a dream. And he woke up and he was like, oh my God, we need to make a speech.
So what do we do? I mean, what's the deal?
Let's talk a little information, a little boring, and then we'll get exciting again, okay?
All right.
Because we have to have boring data.
You have 1 minute to be boring, or else they're going to click away.
So Chinese tariffs are up to 125%.
145?
25. We're 145 on them. They're tariffing, their U.S. imports to China are 125%. Chinese imports into the USA are
145%. Got it. Okay. That's where it currently stands as of April 12th.
Yeah, it could change.
It's the weekend.
In the middle of recording.
Let's see.
So this was in the world received the 90-day respite. Trump took off a lot of tariffs from the world, the reciprocal tariffs, which weren't reciprocating anything. It was just tariffs, but whatever.
And decided to target China specifically.
More in the same proclamation.
Right.
That's when it went up to 145.
It's like, fine, I'm going to back off all the tariffs off everybody else, and only China, I'm going to crank it up even higher.
Yeah. Okay. So in private discussions, hours before China announced new retaliatory tariffs, which is response to the 145% tariff. So hours before that happened, the Trump administration warned Chinese officials against such a move, increasing their tariffs. China was also told once again that Chinese President Xi Jinping should request a call with Trump. So Trump officials were telling China, you need to ask nicely and say please to talk to Mr. Great Trump, and we'll decide if you get to talk to him, but you need to ask please.
How petulant.
So, like I told you on the phone the other day, there on the other side of the world, the U.S. went to sleep. U.S. officials woke up to the tariffs from China being increased 50%, so from 85 to 125 or whatever, and no comments from the Chinese officials. They did not reply with any words.
Just
a tariff.
Got it.
That was a pretty good moment, I think pretty funny, of America being like, well, China, you need to be nice and do what we say. And China just gave them the finger and slapped tariffs. China and Xi Jinping particularly said that they're not afraid of a prolonged trade conflict, and that America is trying to bully China into doing whatever they want. They being China doing whatever the U.S. wants, whenever the U.S. wants it, however the U.S. wants it. And China being like, we are a superpower in our own right, show some damn respect. I don't have a source on this, but I'm going to tell it like it's true. I could probably find it.
Fine.
And
just give it to me.
We get some hate comments about, where's your source? I made it up.
All right.
Who cares?
Just make it up.
No, but I did see a thing where Rubio and it was one of the trade reps or whatever, was talking to some Chinese ministers, not Xi Jinping, which apparently pissed off Rubio and Trump. Like, our Secretary of State should be able to talk to the president of your country at equal footing. And that Xi Jinping is not equal to Trump.
Okay.
Right? But all they got was a foreign minister.
Okay.
Like one guy. And apparently Rubio and whoever trade rep was doing the whole, you need to ask nicely, okay? Quit throwing a tantrum, do exactly what we say. And apparently he got a know your place, Mr. Secretary.
Ooh.
Or like, don't step above your station or something. Like one of those like, please remember
a rebuff.
Remember who you're talking to. To the Secretary of State of
the United States.
That is
of these states united.
Of these states united. That was, and there has been some reps for China, some people who like work with their embassy or something like that over here talking on the news, and are like, I believe it was CNN, and it might have been Dana Bash even, said something along the lines of, but the trade to U.S. is 15% of the Chinese economy. The guy goes, we don't care. He just straight up said, we don't care. I'll try to find the clip. I'll put it. It's a few seconds.
China is willing to take that.
But he said, look, on air, we don't care how much of our economy it is. We don't care. We're going to trade war. So as a note of why this is terrible for us as the U.S. and great for China, they are an export economy, right? So it's feasible for them to just increase exports everywhere, and they're
to other countries
and they're
besides the United States.
And they're fine. We are an import economy.
So if we can't get those imports from China anymore.
Because they make a lot of stuff. We don't make a lot of stuff. Or if we make things, it's like highly advanced technical things that we don't use. I'm not using a $100,000.
Not basic shit.
No. So we are an import economy, and our number one we import most from China. If we're unable to import, we don't have an economy. Sure, maybe we are the United States.
I mean, we're the United States, and we are the most powerful, blah, 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 but
China is a more stable country. Even if it's through a one-party state and we don't like that.
Through communism, they're able to control so much.
Just as an observation, wildly stable country. We're not. We're fluctuating elections, constant election cycle.
We're yo-yoing.
So this is a trade war we lose.
We're already losing.
We're already losing. Let's be clear. We're already losing. Another fact of why this is dumb. This is the second trade war we've had with China. Trump did one back in 2018. 20% of their economy was to the U.S. It's now below 15%.
So they've been decreasing.
Because of the last trade war. So they're even more prepared this time.
For this trade war.
They saw Trump get elected.
Wow.
They prepared for it. They were ready for it. They're not caught off guard this time.
We're smoked.
And China wants to become the superpower, right? This is probably the only time that any human being alive in China will see of an opportunity to become the world superpower. And Xi is not a dum-dum. We might not like him. He's not a dum-dum.
So what if they do if they dump those $800 billion of U.S. Treasury bonds that they own and really crash us?
So I'll finish, then I'll get to that. That China will not back down. This is their opportunity to become number one.
Yeah.
Please believe that they're not backing down. All they've wanted it to be number one. So they're going to become number one way or another. So you mentioned the $700 billion in bonds that they own.
Is it 700 or 8? I think I'd read it.
7, 8,
whatever. A big number.
A lot.
A big number.
I think it's the most by a foreign country.
Probably.
Pretty close to it.
Probably.
Japan's close, but whatever. Nearly $1 trillion. If they decide to dump all of their bonds, the U.S. economy will cease to exist because interest rates will explode. The debt issues we have explode. Banks panic.
People panic.
Right? Inflation will spike.
Stock market will tank.
It will be like
been tanking will continue to tank.
It'll be like
it'll go to the recession that we're talking about.
Oh no, it'll be probably worse than the Great Depression. Probably. Whoa. Yeah. Like it'll be like, oh, there just isn't an economy. Now it would be the nuclear option, China would really suffer. Really would suffer. But again, they're a manufacturer economy. So if anybody can weather the storm of the superpowers in the world, which is really just the two, but I'll count the EU as an entity, they're not a manufacturer economy either. So everyone will hurt, but because China's a manufacturer export economy, they're most prepared to take advantage, like what happened after World War II. We were a manufacturer export economy. And what happened to the US?
We took advantage then.
We became the superpower.
Because we took advantage of the moment.
Exactly.
And now China can do the same.
Would be in the same position the US was in. Like, sure, it was wartime, but like the economy stopped pretty much because it was wartime.
Yeah.
So it would be similar stopping now, but they would be the only country able to fill the gap, the power vacuum. And believe me, China will fill it.
So Trump is teeing up China to become the world superpower, which you prophesized a mere
like a week and a half after the
month
election.
ago.
Yeah.
2 months ago that we're at the beginning of the new
Chinese century.
Chinese century.
Yeah.
The
reign of the USA being sitting on top of the world is ending, if not ended.
As we're watching.
Live, yes. So
also, Trump can give tax cuts to billionaires.
To the richest people on the planet. Not just regular billionaires, the wealthiest people
the
on
wealthiest
the planet.
kind of billionaires.
Yeah.
He bragged about it. He bragged about, oh.
So, tying it all in, that
is there any hope?
Trump will destroy the economy and China becomes number one, but
we hurry up and get back in power and start to try to
we
restore
won't
balance.
take over again, but we'll rebound. I'll put it like this. The Soviet Union didn't have a country after World War II. And famously, basically everybody died. And their whole country was just either burnt rubble or grass, right? And then we had the Cold War. So if we fall apart, you can come back. France also was just cratered after World War II. And now look at them.
We can come back. It'll take decades.
This is the kind of thing, though, that last point, that this has permanently altered the world. The kind of damage Trump has done, Canada will never trust us again.
Or at least not for
a long time. None of us will be alive.
We'll have to build
before the relationship is back where it was.
We're going to have to build it back.
Everything, we have to earn it back.
Oh, it's going to take forever.
And China's in position to capitalize on everything. They're more stable than us. They might not like China, but they're not going all over the place all the time. They're stable. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's over. But it'll be okay, but it's over.
Yeah. How's everybody feel about the United States' reign as the number one kind of economy and influence on Earth?
We wouldn't even
going
be number
away?
2. We would be 10th if China sells their bonds. We'll see you guys next week.
Going to end it on that positive note.
We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, leave us a comment on what you think about the tariffs and how great they are.
Yeah, how great they are for the working people of this country.
Yeah, have you got all that manufacturing jobs back yet?
Yeah, have you got that?
Have you gotten hired at all the new manufacturing jobs that have started?
$7.50 wage, 12 hours a day manufacturing job you wanted so bad? Ooh, say.